Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines as we're back under $1 trillion for the market cap of crypto here. FOMO Ripple partner is going to make some moves. We're going to talk about it. Treasury, say it with me. Coinbase responds to SEC investigations. And then we got a new bill exempting crypto transactions from capital gains. Is it enough? We're going to get into that. And the bill for stablecoins, it's delayed, but we'll tell you how long. Tale of two regulators and Stuart Alderani, and what I believe points to what this case has really become about. Let's roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok at the top of the screen, YouTube and Twitter and Facebook for exclusive content. Let's take a look right now. We're off by 4.76%. That's right. The coin that I believe can service all the money of the world, as has been said by Ripple themselves. I believe it too. And it's 33 cents today. Let's take a look at the market. Is now under $1 trillion at 996 billion is where we are right now. Bitcoin now just under 21,000, 20,900 plus. Ethereum at 1,300. And we see XRP at the number 7 spot at 32 cents. And we are off by 4.82% on the 24 hour and off by 10 plus, almost 11% on the 7-day. Let's go ahead and get started here. What is normal in this day and age, right? I mean, the U.S. government redefined the conventional meaning of a recession, ostensibly in order to avoid its economy from slipping into recession earlier than it wants to or at all. Boy, I tell you, just keep lowering the hype bar, right? I mean, Let me tell you a place where I come from. This is the way my father raised me, God rest his soul. You know what second place is? Second place is the first loser. And that's never going to change. Try redefining that one. Let's go ahead and move forward here. Because of all of this going on, you guys know that I am a fan of working with GlitPay, and I'm an even bigger fan of being a customer. And it is because they're not just a place where you can go get physically allocated gold. And yes, if you get enough gold, you can have it ordered and delivered to you as well. But what I can tell you is more importantly, is they're building out the gold financial system, and they've already turned gold into the equivalent of being able to spend it like cash, only it's gold, right? So it's pretty amazing what they've done. And you better watch out, because he just told me last week they are working to build a bridge in this gold financial system to crypto. Keep an eye out for that. Link underneath the video. Barry Silbert, Digital Currency Group, and many other projects here. He says, I am generally excited about the Ethereum merger to proof of stake, he means. Who would have guessed it? Yeah, who would have guessed it, Barry? For somebody that has been a leader helping to build out this space in more than 300 projects probably. You're not someone who seems like to me to settle for average or mediocrity. So why are you so genuinely excited about the Ethereum merge when Vitalik Buterin says it's only 50 to 55% complete when the merge happens? When did we start getting excited about such a display of mediocrity? And how many more times will Vitalik and Joseph Lubin move the goalpost on this supposed change to proof of stake? FOMO Pay will partner with Ripple, the San Francisco-based blockchain payments company, to utilize its XRP-based tool that enables instant low-cost settlement without the need to hold or pre-fund capital in a destination market. Oh, did you catch that part? Without the need to hold pre-fund capital in a destination market. Now, that's the kind of talk I want to hear. I tell you this, Ripple's excited about it too, and they share it as well, the Singapore-based institution to improve cross-border treasury flows, they say, using on-demand liquidity. Well, I tell you what I found very interesting here is Anders L. said it best, so I figured, you know what, just say it the way Anders L. said it here, and it is this. So FOMO Pay will use on-demand liquidity for treasury payments. That's what MoneyGram used ODL for. You damn right it is. And now they're doing it over there in Singapore and that part of the world. Very exciting stuff. We'll keep a very close eye on that. I tell you this. You know, it reminds me of Brad Garlinghouse when he said, we're acting and the rest of the world is acting as if we already have lost the case, which means they're not stopping. So if they lose the case, 95% of their customers are outside of the U.S. and they're having massive success. So what are they worried about, right? I think at this point, the pressure and the incentive is not on the courts for certain, but it's on the governments and the banking and financial system to understand the true benefit of this technology, these new payment rails and digital assets such as XRP. And if they don't, well, I think the pain to be felt from not acknowledging and embracing these things could be quite devastating. Looks like per Eleanor Terrence reporting that Brad Sherman's bunny has had a good nose here. Now take a listen to this because Coinbase is facing a U.S. probe. Very quick clip, which we've covered here, but I want you to hear this.
Bloomberg has learned that Coinbase is facing a U.S. investigation on cryptocurrency listings. This move comes as a chorus of U.S. regulators to do more to oversee the crypto industry has grown louder. Joe Matthew, Bloomberg Washington correspondent, joins us now with the latest from D.C. So, Joe, it seems like we talk a lot about regulatory scrutiny of cryptocurrencies, and yet we have yet to see real tangible regulation in large part.
Yeah, it's been on a real simmer here. And Coinbase, by the way, says it did nothing wrong. Kaylee, that it's confident its diligence process, which it points out in a statement has been reviewed by the SEC, is in fact designed to keep securities off the exchange. But of course, we have three sources telling Bloomberg that the SEC is in fact probing the company, and it's been looking more closely at Coinbase since the company began increasing the number of tokens that it trades. For our listeners and viewers who do not trade crypto and may not see the crypto show with you and Matt Miller, be aware Coinbase trades a lot more than Bitcoin. In fact, more than 150 different tokens are traded, and they're asking the SEC for clarity around the rules, even as they make clear that they don't think they did anything wrong here. If they were found to have traded securities, then the company may well have to register with the SEC as an exchange.
Well, what's interesting about that is that how in the world could you hold them responsible? And by the way, Coinbase says here to the probe, they have the CLO says that we are confident that our rigorous diligence process, a process the SEC has already reviewed, keeps securities off our platform. And we look forward to engaging with the SEC on the matter. Yeah, and I bet they do, because the reality to that little nugget of information is this. How in the world did the SEC allow Coinbase to IPO if they were aware that they had securities on their platform? Or is this another glaring view at just how difficult it is to know the stance of the SEC on how clear or not clear they say it's very clear what's a security or not. But if that's the case, then shouldn't this investigation happen before Coinbase went public? If anything, the SEC is acknowledging they may have been complicit in letting the company IPO. Oh, brother. Very quickly here, Brooks Entwistle spoke about the benefits of digital assets for real-time, low-cost, instant global payments. Now, we know this, but look at these numbers very quickly here. Sending remittances on average of 6.3% of the amount sent. Now, it can get higher than that. Cross-border payments are known to be costly, full of friction, and slow. Globally, $120 billion in transaction costs spent each year to facilitate international transactions. Not the amount of transactions, but the cost. It even goes on to say here, you can find fees go as high as 13.3% and 7.7% for sending and receiving remittances. And then here at the end here, I did want to share this. They're already seeing benefits in action with Tranglo, cross-border payment specialist, Ripple partner, obviously, in Asia Pacific, has seen $48 million worth of transactions completed, Ripple's on-demand liquidity solution, within the first 100 days of its deployment. How about that? Come on in. And then there's this post right here from Tenatashi, and basically it says the amount of on-demand liquidity remittances is gradually increasing. There's a chart right down here you can take a look at that they share. It says reached the same level as the peak in the first half of 2020, which seems to have increased with subsidies. The chart shows the volume of Bitso in Mexico. Is unclear whether this time there will be an increase in subsidies or some substantial cost burden. So we'll keep an eye on that. But that feels good to understand that as well. That makes me think about the whole idea. Is it time to pivot away from retail? We're still waiting to get that definitive information, and we may have to track this all the way up into and beyond the case's resolution, which could go until March of next year. Now, there's a new bill that would exempt small crypto transactions from capital gains taxes has been entered to the Senate, but there's two problems. One, is it enough? Because the bill would apply transactions valued at $50 or less with a provision to adjust the benchmark alongside inflation. It says it also avoids applying trades between crypto and fiat currency, as well as sales of or exchanges, which are part of the same transaction or a series of related transactions shall be treated as one sale or exchange. However, it's not enough money, I don't feel like, right? So that's number one. But to this bill that's been submitted, which is the Virtual Currency Tax Fairness Act by Senator Pat Toomey and Kirsten Sinema, I believe it is. But the problem may or may not be, maybe it isn't, the legislative calendar, however, it says here, will close before November midterms. Toomey is also not running for re-election, meaning that he will not be around to pick this bill up next Congress. So it will be on Kirsten's back to see if she does and has the moxie to bring everyone together there to be able to put it through and get a vote. We will keep an eye on that as well. Now, to that tune, then there's the stablecoin bill we need to keep an eye on, which we heard from Perry Ann Boring, who said to us last Friday we should hear within hours it was imminent. Well, now it's turned into Congress time and it's until September. The bill addressing stablecoin risk in U.S. is likely delayed until September. Well, you know what? That doesn't mean it won't get voted on, right? So that's very key. Number two, you can bet your bottom dollar that Mr. Michael S. Barr is going to have a say in some of this. And if not, on the front end, I believe he'll certainly have something to say and contribute to it after it's actually proposed. So we'll keep an eye on that as well, because we know we have to have a stablecoin bill to get the rails and the foundation of all of this digital asset space to really take off from a healthy place. And that reminds me to remind all of us, and you and all of us, do not forget about USD Tether. Again, will we see them get a smack on the wrist because they don't keep their accounting reserves on an outside firm? Will we see them get a smack on the wrist because they don't use treasuries to back their reserves or commercial paper? Or will we see something far greater, like actual action, legal action, and some kind of agency, raid their building? Who knows how far this will go? It's one end or the other, right? Will it just be simple, like you got to comply and fill out the licensure and make these changes and then you're good to go and it's off to the races? Or will be there something more drastic to come from that kind of action? I don't know, but I am concerned that we do see something happen there. And that leaves us where we have been, in the tale of two regulators between the SEC and the CFTC. And herein lies the problem that they keep trying to sell, because they are very much working together. Let's not be mistaken in this. Rostin Benham has said it. Gary Gensler has said it. Hester Peirce has said it. And we've heard a bunch of people say it. But what we need to remember is and shout out to J.W. Verrett, former SEC official or advisor for this. In my opinion, it's all a play on words with these two agencies. They say half of the market goes to the CFTC. The other half to the SEC. What they don't mention, however, is this. The metric for half the market cap is half the market cap, not the number of token projects. So by market cap, you have half the market being Bitcoin and Ethereum, go to the CFTC. Everything else would fall under the SEC. That's the plan so far, and that's a plan to fail as far as I'm concerned. And let's go to this clip here shared by Riz. You remember this one? This was Stuart Alderati talking some time ago about the SEC having a node on the XRP ledger. And I think we're going to talk about, before we get out of here, what this case really comes down to, even though I firmly believe it absolutely started out as a weaponizing of an agency and private companies working together to collude. I absolutely believe I've seen enough information that at the very least, there should be an investigation done thoroughly, independently, to discover the rest of the details in that matter. But listen to what Stuart Alderati says, head of Ripple legal team here.
The XRP sits, as I said, on an open, permissionless ledger. How do I know that it's open and permissionless? Because the chief technology officer at Ripple tells me it is. He explains it to me, but I also have hard evidence. The SEC announced about a month or two ago that they're going to establish a node on the XRP ledger and other open and permissionless ledgers. The SEC didn't call Ripple to ask permission to do that. They're just going to do that. The SEC announced about a month or two ago that they're going to establish a node on the XRP ledger. They're going to establish a node on the XRP
ledger. And I believe that's 2018, 2019 time frame, I believe. Could have been a little later, but somewhere within a couple years ago, right? So it's interesting because I do believe the case started out as a weapon, but I do also believe that we have this to look forward to because they are going to run a node on the ledger, right? And I believe that leads us to this. Remember in February of this year, when the SEC voted publicly for distributed ledger technology and same-day settlement for derivatives and securities? Take a listen.
The ever-increasing pace of advancements in technology, including distributed ledger technology, further shortening the standard settlement cycle in the near future may be both desirable and feasible.
They're already talking about distributed ledger technology shortening the settlement cycle, but listen to what she says now.
Indeed, some such efforts are already underway. And we know from what Stuart Alderati said, SEC didn't need anybody's permission. They started running a node on there and some other networks, he said.
Today, we do have those technologies not only to shorten the settlement cycle to 1 day, but also to shorten key elements of what's called the clearing process, that which goes on before. Also, I think rather important, it requires 3 important steps in that clearing process, the back office plumbing process of affirmation, i.e. to fully automate transaction processing. Again, lowering risks in the system. Now, separately, the Commission is also issuing a robust request for comment around areas to consider with respect to potentially achieving same-day net settlement in the future. Net, because it's still netting positions, but possibly moving the money, moving the securities in the evening or end of day. The technology actually exists today, not just for same-day affirmation, confirmation, and allocations, but even for same-day settlement. How do commissioners vote on the division's recommendations to amend the Securities Exchange Act on clearing and settling?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. The recommendation is approved unanimously.
And when he talked about being able to basically batch payments and like do this during the day and then settle it all at the end of the day, it really made me think of David Schwartz's analogy he used to give years ago about a tractor trailer where you could pack up all these kind of micro payments, these little boxes inside the back of the tractor trailer, and then make one payment inside of it. And, you know, I happen to feel like, wow, you know, the higher the value of XRP goes, then I tend to think to myself, the more payments you could put inside of each token. Isn't that the way it works? I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. I'm certainly not a developer, but that's what I'm seeing. And what I really feel like here is we're really watching this case turn into what was a nightmare is going to turn out to work out in our favor, because I believe we've gone the long road. We've watched Ripple build the long road to market infrastructure and building that and laying those tracks. And now I believe we're seeing, Ripple even pivot from just cross-border to talk about NFTs. Recent video came out with Monica Long discussing what they're doing with the XLS 20 token and NFTs there. So it seems like just like Amazon was all about books and then they started moving into selling everything, I almost believe we're witnessing the early transition of that with Ripple and cross-border payments, and now moving into other use cases as well. And as we come to the downside of this case and moving to a close, and knowing that we may go into March of next year, 2023, it's not that far away. It's not that far away. What are we talking about? Let's call it August, because we're a few days from August. So August, September, October, November, December, right? January, February, March. We're 8 months away. We're less than a year, a little more than 6 months away from possibly seeing the end of this case with a resolution, hopefully, that will allow Ripple to move forward, and not just move forward, but move forward and become a leader in this digital asset revolution, because I don't believe XRP is just a token. I don't believe XRP Ledger is just a ledger. I believe XRP and the XRP Ledger are going to be a backbone in the part of this digital asset space. I'm not a financial advisor. Make sure you vet everything I say, because that's the right way to do it. And by the way, before I get out of here, make sure you protect yourself. One of the many different layers of protection I use is Pure VPN. 82% off on 27-month plan for $1.99. Can you afford not to have it? I can't. I'll catch all of you on the next one.